You know when your mum would tell you off for being too close to the screen because you'd get square eyes? Well, I'm sorry mum, it's worth it, because this is the sharpest, the most detailed QD-OLED gaming monitor we've ever seen. It's the new Alienware AW2725Q, and we're talking quantum dot OLED, 240Hz, 4K, and 27 inches, meaning we're getting the sharpest ever 166 ppi, or pixels per inch. But first, a big thank you to Alienware for sending this out a couple of weeks ahead of its launch, so I've had some time to play around with it and also spend far too much time playing games over Christmas rather than spending it with Mrs. TechChat, but it's fine, I told her this was for work. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but honestly, this is shaping up to be possibly the best gaming monitor on the market right now, assuming you want 27 inches. So let me walk you through everything you need to know about this, and let's just kick off with the price. We're talking $899 for this bad boy, and if you do fancy checking this out, I will leave a link in the description below. Now, you may remember that last year we had a whole bunch of very, very nice 32-inch 4K 240Hz QD-OLED monitors, but they were a whole lot more expensive and also a bit less desk-friendly. So it's great to see a new 27-inch model with similar specs that's also a lot more wallet-friendly.
Like, it's so sharp.
And actually, this is the third generation of QD-OLED we've seen from Alienware, following the fantastic 34-inch ultra-wide a couple of years ago, and then more recently the curved 32-inch 4K model. You know what? I'm going to get my editor Pete to pop all the specs right here on screen. He's going to have so much fun writing all that out, because otherwise it would take me about 10 minutes just to list everything that Alienware have crammed in here. As I say, the headlines being the 4K, 240Hz, super fast gray-to-gray response time. We get Dolby Vision, we've got HDMI 2.1, we've got 99% P3 color accuracy. I basically just started listing them anyway. And as I say, for $900 thereabouts, it's not bad at all. And also, while I've got my pretty beefy PC hooked up to the monitor right now, don't forget this would also be a fantastic accompaniment to your console, whether you're Team Blue or Team Green, because we've got that HDMI 2.1, although of course you won't be able to take full advantage of the 240Hz. Consoles currently top out at 4K 120. There's also picture-in-picture modes and picture-by-picture modes for multiple inputs, and tons of image modes to choose from, including a creator mode that lets you switch between P3 and sRGB. And the cherry on top is that Alienware give you a 3-year warranty, which includes panel burn-in, meaning I'm less nervous about using this for work every day as well. Can we talk about this design? Let me just spin it around for you. Alienware call this their Alien Essence. And this is part of their new design language they're calling AW30, which I think has a bit of a sort of retro chic to it. It's very simplistic, but it certainly is quite a big departure from their 32-inch and 34-inch Alienware monitors. I do kind of miss that famous Alienware White. Here we have their new Interstellar Indigo. Alienware say the design is a tribute to their 30th anniversary, hence the AW30, and that they were aiming for a sleek, space-efficient design. I do appreciate the relatively small footprint of the stand here. It feels well built. We have 110mm of height adjustment, 20 degrees swivel either side, and 26 degrees of tilt range. Plus, you can also rotate it into a vertical mode. We do have nice edge-to-edge glass bezels. There's no protruding plasticky lip except for this bottom chin here. What might irk a few people though is that we don't have symmetrical bezels. The top is thinner than the sides and the bottom. But other than that, no real complaints. I guess it's just a little bit simple. I wouldn't have been against slightly more interesting lighting or something there, but yeah, it's perfectly functional. Underneath here, we have this little joystick to control the new OSD, which is very simple and easy to navigate, though it does feel a little on the small side, although you can also use the Alienware Command Center app to adjust the settings instead. Round the back, we have a single DisplayPort 1.4 with DSC and two HDMI 2.1s with FRL. FRL meaning it can support up to 4K at 240Hz with HDR and VRR. And one of the HDMIs gets eARC with Dolby Atmos for connecting your external speakers, because unfortunately there aren't any built-in speakers. We also have 3 USB-A ports along with a USB-C downstream port with 15 watts of power delivery. Downstream means you can charge your device or laptop, but you can't use it as a second screen. So I can't connect my laptop, my Dell XPS if you will, to this and have it as a second monitor. For that, I'd have to use the HDMI port. It would have been nice, especially for $900, if we had Thunderbolt or a USB-C with DisplayPort in this guy. But enough about ports. We're here to talk about this thing, the panel, the QD-OLED, or quantum dot organic light emitting diode. And as a quick refresher, QD-OLED is a refinement of OLED where an extra quantum dot or QD layer is added to boost the brightness and the color volume. I jumped into a bit of Flight Sim 24 and straight away, honestly, it's just stunning. The combination of colors, the brightness, the contrast, and because of this 27-inch 4K resolution, the pixel density is around 20% higher than a 32-inch 4K display. The result is just mind-blowing. You're going to have to come over and have a look at this for yourself. And while this is technically a glossy screen, the anti-reflective coating does a great job of minimizing light and glare, which really helps make the most of those ultra-deep QD-OLED blacks. Stalker 2, which is already a very dark game, in some situations literally gets pitch black. But also the brighter areas benefit from that QD layer, making contrasty experiences like this even more atmospheric. So, in terms of brightness, we're talking 250 nits in SDR over a full-screen window, or up to 1000 nits in HDR on a 3% window. And so whether you're watching HDR movies and videos, or more likely playing games on this, the highlights and the colors really pop. One of the issues with some OLED displays, especially WOLEDs and also some of the earlier generations of the panel technology, was that text didn't look particularly crisp. So while gaming like this looked fantastic, as soon as you jumped to a Google Doc or you started reading the fine text on, your icons on the desktop, it fell down a little bit and looked a bit grainy. Well, I can tell you, you don't have to worry about it with this. The text, fine detail, looks fantastic. There's no grainy artifacts or color fringing around fine detail like text, which improves readability and also makes this much better as a productivity monitor as well. I mean, do you really need 4K on a 27-inch monitor like this? Traditionally, I would have said no. 24 inches, 1080p, 27 inches, 1440, and then 32 inches and above, and ultra-wide, I'd recommend 4K where possible to really take advantage of the high resolution. However, it all comes down to how far away you're sitting from your desk. If you're gaming like this, maybe a foot or two away, then I can see the difference going from Quad HD to 4K. Also, if you're pairing it with a games console, then you'll benefit from 4K, and generally 4K panels, just very generally speaking, tend to be the higher quality panels as well. So there are advantages going with 4K at 27 inches. The only downsides would be A, it's usually more expensive, and B, it's more taxing on your PC system. Hitting 240 FPS in your games to max out that 240Hz refresh rate at 4K, well, that is going to be a bit tricky unless you have a 5090 or you're playing older, less demanding games. But one man's overkill is another man's future-proof. And also that 240Hz paired with the panel's ultra-fast response time means you're getting minimal blur and ghosting. Now, of course, anytime we're looking at an OLED or a QD-OLED monitor, burn-in is going to be at the back of your mind. Now, I've not had any issues personally, but then I've also not abused an OLED monitor for years and years and years where I've actually seen it. And also the panel technology's improved. We have safety features like pixel refresh, and as I say, Alienware even give us a 3-year warranty, which includes burn-in for the panel, so they're pretty confident. But what we also have here is a graphite sheet which draws heat from the panel and exhausts it via the 360 vent at the back. And apparently this uses AI to monitor the panel and actively make adjustments to local brightness and static image areas. I'm recording this on a Sunday. I'm allowed to put my feet up once in a while. So that is the new Alienware AW2725Q, $899. What do you think? My only critiques would be the lack of USB-C with DisplayPort, so I can't output from my laptop and use it as a monitor unless I use HDMI. The asymmetrical bezels may irk some people, and also I think the design's it's okay, doesn't blow me away. But aside from that, it's nearly perfect. And I'm telling you, once you go OLED, particularly QD OLED like this, there's no going back. But what do you reckon? Could you see yourself picking up one of these? Or maybe it's a little bit overkill? Let me know what you make of this in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. A cheeky like and subscribe would be fantastic if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.